Hi-yo, hello again, and welcome to Portal Season 2024, Episode 3. Yes, indeed. My name is Tate. I'm publisher/Commodore at auburnsports.com, which I consider to be the best Auburn-centric website on the entire universe. Of course, I say that as the owner and publisher at that place, and I've been writing there a really long time. But I'm joined by some great guys, Brian Matthews, Caleb Jones, Brian Stoltz, and, of course, Henri Patton, who is with us as well. And a lot of the information that I give you on these shows, I glean from those guys who are at the complex like all day long, and they give me a lot of intel and stuff because I'm out here trying to do videos, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this bad boy. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It's free. It just helps me, and it makes me feel good. All right, let's get through the guys who are here today. There's 5 people that we know of for sure. Sometimes there's a secret guy here and there that we know are on campus. The number one, the most important, the biggest name, Jackson Arnold, the quarterback from University of Oklahoma, who is kind of a divisive element, I feel like, in the Auburn sphere because he was, of course, a 5-star recruit out of high school, goes to Oklahoma, big deal. He's from Denton, Texas, which is it's north of Dallas, just south of the Oklahoma border there. I've been through it many times. Home of the North Texas Mean Green, by the way. So he goes to Oklahoma, waits his turn, kind of gets his chance this year, and he gets benched. If you guys remember, they were playing their true freshman against Auburn and not Jackson Arnold. He kind of came back into the fray at Oklahoma and played, decently in the second half of the season for them. But nonetheless, he hopped in the portal, and he is a free agent, so to speak. There's been a lot of chatter that he is seriously considering Mississippi State because of Jeff Lebby being there, with whom he worked at Oklahoma. But the information that I'm getting is that he has told people at Auburn that he won't even visit Mississippi State. So I think Auburn's got a good shot here. I'm not saying it's an amazing shot. Here's the thing about Jackson Arnold. I got some questions about him. I really think he's kind of like a better version of Peyton Thorne, and I say that because let's look at some of the numbers here. 6'1", 211, a little bit short for quarterback, but so was Peyton, whatever. Started 9 games in 24 with a 62.6 grade. Peyton probably had a higher grade than that, but we're going to say there was a little bit of calamity going on at Oklahoma. We're not going to worry about it too much. 62.6% passes completed, 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's probably a little bit better than what Peyton would do normally. Rushed for 444 yards on 150 carries. I think he scored 3 rushing touchdowns as well. So he is a dual threat. He's not like Cam Newton. Nobody else is. But he can run the football, and he's an effective runner. My issue is this: 7 of 30 on throws beyond 20 yards. And that was a very specific problem that Peyton had this year that I thought limited him in a big way. Also processing. Sometimes Peyton, I thought, got a little hung up on particular receivers, and that's something that people complain about with Jackson Arnold as well. So I've got some questions about Jackson Arnold. He's probably the best fit for what Auburn needs that's available right now. I think so, and I think Auburn's really pushing really hard to try to get Jackson Arnold. So for me, I would not be surprised to see him end up committing. I think the bunker, the great message board at auburnsports.com, is a little bit frustrated by him and doesn't think he's a superstar. I mean, I don't think he is either, but I don't think he's trash. I think he's a better version of Peyton Thorne. And to me, he's probably a B or B+ portal guy right now. We'll get to the portal beasts here in a minute. But Jackson Arnold is on campus, and he's somebody they're going to be keeping a very close eye on because that, my guys and gals, is the number one position they've got to worry about right now. C.J. Daniels is also on campus. Not to be confused with Jalen Daniels or any of the other Daniels. Jaden Daniels. Yes, Marquise Daniels. Probably doesn't even know him either. Anyway, I have it there as wide receiver from Duke. He is not from Duke. He's from LSU. I don't know why it says Duke. He played at Liberty for 4 years. Obviously played for Freeze and a lot of those guys as well. 6'2", 205, so he can play X and Z, which is something that Auburn, I think, would be good with. Cam, of course, is an X or a Z, and Perry is probably more of a Z. But you got to have some depth, some older guys in that room. And with Dre leaving, I think it's a good idea to consider CJ. 42 catches for 480 yards and 0 touchdowns at LSU this year. He was okay. Terrific at Liberty the year before. 55 catches for 1,000 yards and 10 touches. So I think this is very likely that he ends up at Auburn playing an X receiver. 4 years at Liberty, then the year at LSU last year. From Lilburn, Georgia, from Parkview High School. Somewhat nearby Auburn. I mean, maybe 50 miles away. A 2-star recruit in the 20 class, which I think is great. I told you guys yesterday. I love it when these kids kind of get that glow up and get to kind of show what they can do on a bigger scale. And, he was a terrific player at that Liberty level. I think he was a pretty good SEC receiver. Not awesome, but pretty good. and I think he can give Auburn some depth there for sure. Tate Seymour, who was here this morning, he showed up very early. He is best friends and roommates with Singleton, Eric Singleton, who was here maybe 2 days ago. I think of him as a slot receiver, but he's also can be an outside receiver. Anyway, Tate Seymour is a safety. He's kind of a box safety, 5'11", 205. Started 6 games last year at Georgia Tech. It was like, he was a backup for the first 3 or 4 games, and then they put him in the starting lineup, and he finished out the season as a starter. 51.6 grade is not great, but he was a sophomore. Georgia Tech's defense was kind of hit or miss anyway. Got thrown to the Wolves. He had some good games, and he had some bad games. He played really well against Duke, against Malik Murphy, but some of the other games he wasn't. So very inconsistent and pretty young. Again, another kid from Atlanta. I think he went to South Atlanta High School, 3-star recruit in the 23 classes. Interestingly, as an outside linebacker. But he's leaned up just a little bit. Now he's playing like box safety. And to me, he kind of reminds me of Trigger Trey. Trey Matthews from maybe, I don't know how long ago that was, 7 years ago now. I think he's solid, and I think he can give them some depth at that safety position and maybe could play outside linebacker in a pinch, but I think he's more of a safety. Maybe like Divine Diablo, who plays for the Raiders too, kind of similar in that way as well. Auburn also brought in a couple offensive linemen today. Wendell Moe Jr., who mostly played left guard at Arizona. Looks okay to me. He's a real big boy, 6'2", 339. So he's a big one. Started 11 games for the disappointing but okay Arizona Wildcats last year. 760 snaps with a 67.4 grade, which is good. It's not superstar quality and it's not replacement level. It's somewhere in between. I think that grade would probably put him right behind Connor Lew as Auburn's best lineman, assuming that he got the same kind of grade in the SEC. I don't know. The year before, a 68.5 grade, so slightly higher, but really not much of a difference there in 13 starts, 864 snaps. So he definitely has some durability, and he'll get in there and fight for you. Left guard is where he's played most of his career at Arizona. He did moonlight last season at right guard. I think they had an injury, and he slid over there, but I definitely think this guy's a guard. He doesn't have the length or the lateral agility to play tackle. I'm confused a little bit about why Auburn is bringing in so many guards. Josh Thompson from Northwestern was here the other day, and do they really need guards? They need tackles. I don't know what's up with all these guards. It's almost like it's the way, Gus and Herb Hand used to do this. They'd have 3 centers and 5 guards and 2 tackles. And you'd be like, guys, please. I don't understand what's going on here. Mason Murphy also is here. Again, another mistake from me. It says right tackle from Arizona. He is very clearly from USC. This guy is a tackle, thank goodness. 6'5", 315. He's from Riverside, California. Former home of, temporary summer home for Doc, who played basketball there in the mid-90s. He went out there for a summer. Doc Robinson. That's what I was thinking with Riverside. Or Yellen Compton, but you moved to Riverside. No Vaseline, anyone? Ice Cube? No. Okay, anyway, Mason Murphy. At least he's got the right tackle body. Started 12 games in 24 for the Trojans, 817 snaps, so he's durable. But a 55.7 grade, guys. That's not very good. That's about what Percy Lewis would have given you last year. And it would definitely be below Dylan Wade. The year before, 56.9 grade in 5 starts. So it's still a project. Even though he's got, he's played a lot of snaps, I still look at him a little bit of a project, so I don't know what to say about that one. 4-star recruit in the 21 class and played at Sarah High School, which is a very successful school there in the Los Angeles area. So I don't know, man. They definitely need tackles, even though Mason Murphy to me is a right tackle, but at least they're going after tackles. But you'd like to see somebody that maybe had a better success track, a better record for success, I guess, as a starter somewhere. If he had a 75 grade or something like that, I'd feel a lot better than a 55. But, at least they're going in the right direction. Now it's time for the Beast List. You guys have been waiting. I know you guys have been bothering me on Twitter all day long about this. This is kind of a weird list in that it's hard to compare Zechariah Poyser to a 332-pound guard. I mean, those two guys play very different positions and do different things for this ball club, or could do different things for this ball club. But whatever, we're just having fun with this anyway. This is the list of players that Auburn has had on campus or currently has on campus, and which one of those guys I think is the most baddest ass of them all, 1 through 10. Zechariah Poyser, who's the safety from Jacksonville State, he's more of a coverage safety, more of a free safety. I think that guy is an absolute stud. He's talking to LSU. He's talking to Florida. So it's going to be a tough pull, but I think he likes Auburn, and he had some nice things to say about Auburn after his visit. Clevmer Lubin, who came, as you guys know, I talked to you about it yesterday, from New York, a little bit north of New York City. Anyway, he's kind of a boomer bust guy, but I just really like what he did last year. I mean, he kind of was pushed to the side at Army to give him some time to get ready because he was raw. Played basketball in high school. He was a tailback in high school, so he's kind of learning the defense and really focusing on that. I think this guy's got real ability, man. He's long, he's strong, he's got a great motor. I would love to take a shot on him if I was a coach. Jackson Arnold, I've got in the 3 spot, the quarterback from Oklahoma. Probably the most important player that Auburn's recruiting right now. I just don't think that he's awesome. That's the thing. Eric Singleton, the receiver from Georgia Tech, I think of him as a slot guy at 5'11", but they did play him outside a little bit, and he's got Ontario McCaleb acceleration and speed, so you can use him. You can deploy him in certain ways, and he can really tear things up. C.A. Daniels, to me, solid, just a solid wide receiver. Maybe what Cam Brown should have been. Probably not quite Dre. Just a good player. Malik Murphy, I think some opinions are mixed on him. I'm not as high on him. I think he's a quarterback 2 candidate for me. Can't run at all. A little too inaccurate for me to be a superstar, like number 1 guy at Auburn. I just don't see it. Darrell Robinson, I do like him, the tailback from UConn. But to me, he does the same job as Damari, kind of a shorter guy. He has that broad base of skills where he can run the football, he can run inside, he can catch passes. But that's what Damari does. And Damari is such an important part of this locker room and this program. I don't know. That just looks redundant to me. Josh Thompson, solid offensive lineman, probably the best lineman they've been talking to, but he's a guard. I mean, it's better to get good linemen in than not, but do they really need a guard? Mason Murphy looks just okay to me. We talked about him earlier. And then Tate Seymour, to me, a little bit of a project. I could see him being good, and I could see him being just a dude that just replacement level player that doesn't really do much, kind of like Caleb Wooden. So that's my list of the beasts and kind of my ranking of the guys that they brought in so far. If they get Zechariah Poyser, man, I like that kid. Really, really like him. Clevmer Lubin, too. I think he's a plug-and-play player. So Jackson Arnold, too. I mean, if he commits to Auburn, he's definitely going to play. So anyway, that's the beast list for me. I try to keep these videos under 13 minutes. I appreciate you guys going the distance with me today on this Friday night. Hope you guys have a good time. Please be sure and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it if you guys do. If you already have, I love you guys. You know that. Also, comment in the thread about what really excites you about this group of people. Who is on your beast list? Who's the guy that you would love to see in an Auburn uniform? I will check you guys a little bit later in the weekend as we get up to date on what these guys had to say when they leave and who's coming in next. Until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Appreciate you guys. Deuces.